You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And we're just going to do a quick little show for you, mainly because of a mistake that I made. You know, I was in contact with a future Buckeye. Well, not a future Buckeye. He is a Buckeye. Epi, defensive end out of California. He said he was going to be on at 6 o'clock. Well, that's 6 o'clock time in California, which is 9 p.m. here. So we'll be back on at 9 p.m. Interviewing Epi. If you know anything about that young man, you need to be here for that, because the interview we did with him last time was absolutely phenomenal. It's a really fun interview, man, and I'm excited to see where he's at now, because I know he was real nervous last time and whatnot, so it's going to be exciting. But Mello, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I love hearing the news about B. Hart. It's the perfect situation for me. That's exactly who I wanted to become OC. It gives us a little wiggle room, you know, getting a natty to allow him to grow in that role, and a little bit of ups and downs. But I love it, man. I had a great day. 72 degrees down here today, so like beautiful.
Yeah,
Can't complain. I was riding with the sunroof open and the windows down, so it was awesome.
Yeah.
How's the weather down there? I know it's probably hot down there.
Oh, dude, it feels good. It's beautiful out today. A little bit cloudy, not super sunny. You know what I mean? But you brought up the Hartline stuff, and there's some people freaking out because it's not official anywhere. And you know, before Scoop got on and had their show today, I got a text message mentioning that that I got a text message that said, "Hey, I'm hearing that it's done. That Brian Hartline is the offensive coordinator, and Billy's been moved to the quarterback coach, but it's not official anywhere." And you know, obviously, you got some people that believe Scoop and some people that don't believe Scoop. I believe Scoop. You know, I think that it's a done deal. I don't think they're going to report that if it's not. And plus, you know, the source that we have here on Buckeye Boys indicated that was true. So we will see when they make that official. And also, supposedly Brian Hartline updated his thing on Instagram or Twitter or something.
His X account.
Yeah, it says offensive coordinator, but people are commenting down below that it's always said that. I know for a fact that's not true. It used to say co-offensive coordinator below it, but, you know, we'll see. So we're going to talk about it.
I think people just don't like Scoop so much, whatever they have personal issues with Kirk and Nevada for whatever reason, that they can't give him credit. But, I mean, when it comes to Ohio State and in terms of personnel and coaching staff, they've been batting 1,000 since before the end of last season. So, I mean, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, and that's why I stand on that. And plus, our source said the same thing as Buckeye Scoop. So, I mean, for me, that's good enough.
Yeah, 100%. So we're going to be talking about it like it's a done deal, because we believe it's a done deal here. And here's people's first reaction to this is they don't like it. Brian Hartline's not ready for this role. He's been at Ohio State for, 9 years now? Yeah. He's been there with Meyer, Ryan Day, and now Chip Kelly. He had experience as the offensive coordinator in 23, and then Ryan Day took it back over. We don't know the details there completely. He was a big part of play calling this year, right alongside Chip Kelly. Big part of the game planning. So here's a fact of the matter. If he's not ready now, then will he ever be ready? You know, because he's been right alongside all of these old head coaches, big-time coaches, Chip Kelly this year. And then also, Brian Hartline's a pretty big name. He's been like the best recruiter in the nation for a long time. He's going to be sought after. So unless we, as Ohio State, give him, room to grow and actually let him grow here at this program, we're going to have to let him go. So it's either give Brian Hartline a promotion inside, of the Woody, or somebody's going to come take him up out of there. That's just a fact of the matter. So do you want to lose Brian Hartline and let him go grow somewhere else, or do you want him to grow here? Now, the good news is that, you still got Tim Drevno, you got Ryan Day, and Ryan Day is not done hiring coaches, potentially Kevin Wilson, O-line coach, or just promote Tim Drevno. But now that we've lost our offensive coordinator, it just keeps making more sense to bring Kevin Wilson in, maybe stick a co-offensive coordinator beside that to help, Brian Hartline even more so that Day can stay in that CEO type of a role. But I'm excited about what's going on. I'm excited that Day is going to be able to go out and hire new coaches, because this is a huge, huge turning point in his career. He just hit a milestone, right? Then he loses all his coordinators and his offensive line coach, the most three important positions for a coach, okay? Now he's got to go out and make new hires. So everybody keeps talking about this feeling that Ryan Day is about to go on a dynastic run. Well, here we go. We're about to find out what type of coach Ryan Day is.
Absolutely. For me, it wasn't worth losing the best recruiter in the country. People could say whatever they want. We don't care about recruiting. We don't care until you don't get any more 5 stars. Because say somebody went and offered Brian Hartline an OC job somewhere else, he's going to take it, right? Say bye-bye to Optimus. Say bye-bye to Cardinal Tate. Say bye-bye to Ennis. Say bye-bye to Marlon Graham. Bryson Rogers will probably stay just because he's been here. The freshman will probably stay because now they're going to be forcing a starting role. But then if the receivers leave, then you're risking the quarterbacks leaving as well. So people can be narrow-minded and whatever and say they don't want Brian Hartline. They don't think he's ready. He's done this before. Like, no, he's been game planning with Chip every single game. So he's been learning the in and outs on how to run the concepts. And at the end of the day, when you have the best recruiter, talent could cover up a lot of different coaching flaws. And now he's not just going to be recruiting the wide receiver room. He's going to be recruiting, helping with the running backs, helping with the O-line recruitment, which is what we really do need severely, and tight end recruiting, which is, I think, has been going pretty well. The question is, who do you hire for wide receiver coach now and O-line coach? That's where I'm at. Everybody else that's complaining about Brian Hartline, you might as well just zip it. Nobody cares. He's got the job, and we rocking with him.
Yeah. The thing is it doesn't matter if us fans don't trust Brian Hartline, but at this point in time, if you think about it, right, and it takes a minute to have this kind of line of thinking, but if you say you don't like the hire because you don't think Brian Hartline is ready for this, then you are in fact saying you do not trust Ryan Day's ability to discern whether Brian Hartline is ready for this or not. Okay.
Right,
and
exactly.
that's a big statement to say. That's a big statement to say, no, I do not think Ryan Day knows if Brian Hartline is ready. Because I'll tell you this, I think at this point in time, Ryan Day would not make a decision that is not best for this team. He wants to go out and win a natty. He knows the pressure he's under. He knows this is the Ohio State. He knows. So do we really think Coach Day is going to go make an if hire for the offensive coordinator job? Do we think he's going to make a maybe hire for the offensive? I do not, right? And to be honest with you, we got Ryan Day. I know we don't want him to call plays, but it helps. I think we have the staff. And Tim Drevno, there's a good chance, to be honest with you, that he follows Chip Kelly to the NFL, unless he is given a role here in this coaching staff. And I would love to keep him on here, this coaching staff. But then you go into, well, where's Kevin Wilson fit in? If you want to bring him into this staff, because Kevin Wilson would fit in as the, offensive line coach. And then that does away with being able to promote Tim Drevno into a position. But either way, it all goes back to trusting Ryan Day. And so far, the hires that he made last year, with the chaos that he went through last year, they won us a natty. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I don't mind at all, having Brian Hartline's offensive coordinator, but then it brings up the next question of who's going to be the wide receiver coach. You know what I'm saying? And I know you got Devin Jordan, right behind him. He's been learning behind Brian Hartline. He's got relationships with all the recruits, all the current wide receivers. You just told me before the show that I didn't even know this. He was a wide receiver for Ohio State with Brian Hartline. Man, I didn't know that, right? Yep. But that's another beautiful thing to add to this. And to think that him moving to offensive coordinator will hurt our wide receiver recruiting. No way, dude. It's going to help it. A wide receiver coach moving to calling the offensive plays. J.J. Smith, Carnell Tate, Mylan Graham, Brandon Ennis, Quincy Porter, whoever gets on they're going to get fed like nobody's business, dude. He's the wide receiver coach, man. Yeah. I would argue this is going to benefit our wide receiver because wide receivers his name's already out there. He doesn't need to talk to recruits face to face to tell them his resume. He doesn't need to tell them, look at all my wide receivers in the NFL. Look how productive they are. Look how much they get paid. Look what I've done with Jeremiah. He doesn't need to do that. The media does that for him. If you're a wide receiver and you want to play in college, you know Brian Hartline's name. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. I wouldn't mind seeing Devin Jordan promoted to the wide receiver coach, but
I'm going to go a little different direction.
Yeah.
No, everybody, all I keep hearing is, this is the Ohio State. You have to hire the best. You have to hire the best. Stop hiring alumni and in-house. Well, guess what? Our alumni are some of the best to ever do it. So for me, there's this guy that lives in South Florida right now. He's highly respected down in South Florida. He's a top 10 wide receiver all time to ever play football, ever put on pads. He's helping out FAU right now, which means he doesn't mind getting back into the coaching game. You throw him a couple of bills, you could probably get him back up to Columbus, and that's my boy C-Squared, Chris Carter. Bring Chris Carter in, let him be the wide receiver coach. You have a dual tag team of Chris Carter and Hartline. We're getting whatever wide receivers we want. There's no people. A lot of these kids aren't gonna be like, let's go to Oregon for the shoe deal, or let's go to USC or somewhere. No, I'm going to get coached up by Hartline, and Chris Carter was better than that. So that's the direction I'm leaning in. Yes, I know supposedly it's pretty much a pipe dream at this point, but I think it can happen, especially since he's already helping coach. He's already has a foot in the game. So why not come back to your alma mater and coach big time? Just jump back in it. And him and JJ are super tight. So I think he would come back and help out. What's your thoughts on my boy CC coming back?
Well, first off, Ryan Day's Championship Beard, thanks for gifting a membership. We appreciate that, man. Appreciate all the support everybody gives us. I wouldn't mind that at all, obviously. But then you got this way of thinking as well, which was honestly my first thought. My first thought that Brian Hartline would stay the wide receiver coach and also be offensive coordinator. But then you're going to have people, oh my God, can he do both, right? Because if you're going to be the wide receiver coach, then you got to be down on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be in the box up there making calls. So I don't know. There's a lot of different moves that can be made here, right? These are the top 3 coaching positions that a head coach needs on his coaching staff. So this is a big time test for Ryan Day. What is he going to do, man? And like I've said 100 times on this channel, I'll keep saying it. I just got to trust Ryan Day to make a decision because he wants to win more than we do. I mean, if the dude loses a game, his family gets threatened, which is absolutely insane. That's so stupid. But beyond that, he's competitive. Brian Hartline, super competitive. He wants to win. Now, that's his job, dude. We want to win as fans, but imagine if this was your full-time job, right? How much more would you want to win? So,
they're the men in the arena. They definitely want to win more than us. It might seem outlandish to us as fans because we're so nuts, but they definitely want to win more than us. So I had a question. I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about O-line coach? Where would you go? What direction? I heard you bring up Tim earlier. Is that your choice?
Man, I don't know. The more that I think about it, the more that, like, there are real concerns when you're going to just promote from the inside. You know what I mean? Because there's a progression to coaching. You like coaches to have experience. So, in a world where you promote Brian Hartline, you've just promoted from within, right? At that point in time, I really want to see somebody from the outside come in. I want to see, us go grab Notre Dame's offensive line coach or go out and get, the best offensive line coach in the country just to bring in an outside experienced person that can add to this staff. You keep promoting within, you're not really bringing in anything new. You're just kind of keeping all, less experience in the room. Brian Hartline has no experience calling plays. I would like to see us not do that in every single position. So, but Tim Drebno would be he has experience, right? So that's not really a thing. But my point is if you're going to promote from within these other positions, let's surround those new offensive coordinators, potentially those new defensive coordinators, maybe Matt G, even though, we've heard that Bates is that dude. But even so, you're bringing in new guys from the outside that have more experience than the guys on the inside in those positions. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. If you're going to promote Brian Hartline, I wouldn't mind bringing somebody from the outside in. This is Ohio State. We can go get and pay whoever we want. We can go entice somebody, the best offensive line coach in the country, with some money to come to the Ohio State, the national champs, the winningest football team the last 25 years, to come coach here. You know what I'm saying? So, honestly, knowing that Coach Hart's the offensive coordinator, my vote has now changed to go get Notre Dame. Notre Dame's offensive line coach, that's my number one. But in the same sense, you got Kevin Wilson hanging around the program. You know what I'm saying?
No, my
He's
number
got a lot of
one
experience.
for me, he doesn't have experience like that. Not in this type of setting. But he has experience, and he was a dog. And I'm still LaCharles Bentley. Guess who was training with LaCharles Bentley today?
Yeah.
5-star, top 5 offensive tackle in the 2026 class, Cody Green, 6'6", 310, starting left tackle for Mater Dei High School, the same high school Chris Henry goes to. Guess what? All the top O-linemen come and train with him one-on-one. Do you think if he was the O-line coach at Ohio State, they wouldn't want to train with him all the time at Ohio State?
Yeah.
Get developed by him?
Yeah.
And I believe he could do the job. I also think that, like, if you look at Will Stein, he didn't have a whole lot of experience, but Dan Lanning went and grabbed him. He's young, he's fresh, and that's why they're connecting with players on top of the money that they have. We have money too. And now we have a pretty young staff that's not that far removed from the generation that they're recruiting, so they could connect to them even on just like music or real life stuff outside of football. But then you take in the football aspect and you realize these dudes were monsters at their job and they're elite at coaching. I'm going to get LaCharles Bentley, and he's going to be the O-line. We have a little wiggle room. We're going to have JJ for another year. We're going to have BI for another year. We're going to have Julian Sayin for another year. Like, in the beginning of the season, it might start off rocky, but by the end of the season, they should still make the playoffs. And then you get hot at the right time in the playoffs again, we go on another run. Run it back. And then by then, now going into next year, they have the experience. So for me, I want LaCharles Bentley. I want Chris Carter. And that's great for the offensive side. That's where I'm at with that. Now, defense is a little different. It's a little more complicated, I believe. But I wouldn't mind seeing OG Walt get promoted or going outside. Like I said, my dream hire would be Steve Spagnuolo, but I know that's almost like 0.00001% chance of happening. But outside of that, I don't know enough about Bates. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. But I feel like we should be able to get whoever we want to be DC. Like, our defense is still elite in terms of the players we have coming back. I really do not want to change the system that much because of how we recruited over the past 3 to 4 years to play this exact system. So I feel like we're in great shape to continue to go where we're at. And I want to see who they're going to promote. Like, I wouldn't mind OG Walt or Matt G. But I understand why people say go to the outside because you want fresh thoughts. You don't want common thoughts throughout the program because they've been together so much and they're seeing the same thing. Sometimes the outside perspective is great, but then for me, in terms of that, I'm just going to go hire the best analyst that we can get, overpay analysts to come down and do it.
Yeah.
So there's different workarounds, but I think defense is going to be a little more dicey.
Hey, the truth of the matter is, this is way above my pay grade. And if you look at the position Ryan Day is in right now, you talk about testing whether a coach is really a top 1, 2, or 3 coach in the nation. Do this to him. Take away his defensive coordinator, his offensive coordinator, and his O-line coach.
When you're
yeah, right at the time when you're supposed to be, this stuff needs to be done. The defensive coordinator should be done by now. To be realistic, if we want the best outcome for next year, the defensive coordinator should be in the room right now, getting to know these players, getting to know the system, instilling their system, right?
And maybe he is.
The offense can wait a little bit because you got Ryan Day, you got Tim Drebno in there and all that stuff, but these decisions need to be made. So, I mean, this is a lot of pressure on Ryan Day. I don't think it's too much for him. He had to deal with these similar things last year, not quite to this level. He didn't have to worry about the defensive side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? He did have to go out and, get rid of a safeties coach, get a new safeties coach, and promote, James Laurinaitis to the – but, those – Matt G was already known. He's already been here before. James Laurinaitis is already on staff. So this is way different than last year. But, again, man – I just think with the way things are going in this program, this is going to be another time for Ryan Day to show people who he is as a coach. You know what I'm saying? And for those people out there that, it's kind of wild that there's a lot of people out there talking about, we're going to be an 8-9 win team next year. They're not really.
Who said that? People saying that,
bro. I'm seeing it all over the place. I see it on Twitter. I even see a bunch of Ohio State fans thinking,
wins without an OC in the DC right now.
Yeah, man. I just, I just don't. I don't get that at all. But and to go back on the Brian Hartline thing, like you just got to think this thing through. Like he's been here for 9 years. Look at the offenses he's been a part of. He's been the wide receivers coach, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's right in. He's in all the game planning. He's in all the going over everything. He knows every single play in the playbook. Like he's right there. He just sat here for an entire year with Chip Kelly. Like that's a long time. And for somebody that's been in football as long as him, who's got such a high pedigree as he does, he played the game. He's the best recruiter. He's obviously one of the best developers. You know what I'm saying? So he's got the knowledge of the game, and everybody's like, well, he wasn't ready last year. Ryan Day had to take it from him last year. Yeah, but he just spent a whole year with Chip Kelly. That's a long time, man. That's a long time. And you're talking about he sat beside one of the OGs, bro. So if an OG can teach kids his system in a year, what do you think an OG can do with a coach in a year? He's going to teach him his scheme. He's going to teach him why he's making the calls he's making and doing the whole thing. So, I'm not over here stressing. I think Brian Hartline's the offensive coordinator, and I think we got a new QB coach already, which, CJ and Will Howard both called him out, said he's fantastic. And it honestly, everybody's questioning whether this is true or not. Well, may I remind you that, Billy has been on the road recruiting. So he's been filling in for one of our 10 accountable coaches. We lost Jim Knowles. Billy replaced him instantly. The first person Ryan Day went to, Billy, you're on the road recruiting. So, James, who else was on the road recruiting last year when we needed somebody to fill in? James Laurinaitis. What is James Laurinaitis now? He got hired as the linebackers coach. Everybody said that was a done deal last year, and they didn't make it official for how long? And everybody was freaking out. So,
yep.
There's some more evidence for you that these things that, Scoop declared today, and we did too on our Twitter, that, is true. Billy's one of the 10 accountable coaches now. He's the quarterback coach. And Brian Hartline's the offensive coordinator, and I'm stoked about it. I'm excited, right? You talk about, what's the best position group we have on our team? Wide receivers.
Wide receiver.
So let's go make our wide receiver coach the offensive coordinator. Julian saying, got that gun, son. Let's slang that
You
thing
know how
around
everybody
next year,
keeps
bro.
looking for official reports? The only official report you need to look for is that day extension and pay raise, because what he has done and had to deal with for the past years, he deserves it. So if you want to talk about what's official, let's look for that. The official pay raise and extension of the coach day.
Yep, yep, I like it. So again, very important time for Ryan Day, dude. I mean, Nick Saban did it. Nick Saban's done this over and over again with losing way more coaches than just 3. You know, so it can be done with what Ryan Day did this year. He earned our trust. I mean, he made the staff decisions last year, and everybody questioned everything he did, man. Well, who's Carlos Locken? Well, you could have got this. Well, Chip Kelly, he's out of date, man, not innovative. I mean, everybody was laughing at us when he hired him, and now there's all these reports. Oh, my God, Ohio State's going to suck. They just lost the best offensive coordinator in the game. What do you mean? Just last year you called him old and outdated, and you were laughing at us, and now you're saying we're going to suck because he was the best?
Right.
I mean, get your crap straight, fellas. You guys step your game up, man.
They always want to switch the narrative and move the goalposts just to fit whatever they're saying so they can look right.
I know, man. I love it. Either way, dude, this is Ohio State, bro. We recruit at a top notch. We got the best. Dude, I was just doing some browsing on the On3 and seeing how high our players were at the beginning of the year. And then the more interest Ohio State shows in players, and especially when they get signed, they just tend to go down. Now,
yeah,
they'll bump a couple up just so they can say we didn't do it. But I'm telling you, dude, some of these players, bro, they just keep going down, dude. It's so funny, man, how these recruits are
right?
Such a joke, bro. It's hilarious.
It really is. So the only thing I have with Kevin Wilson, this is my only gripe. If he's picked, please get rid of anything that requires zone blocking, mainly that stretch to the boundary or stretch in general. Just get rid of it, forget about it, toss it, burn it, get it out of your memory bank. We do not want to see any stretch plays here at the Ohio State University. I want to see mainly a gap scheme ran offense the same way we ended last year. Gap off the passing game, gap off the running game. And if Kevin Wilson's down to do that, I'm cool with him coming back as well.
Yeah.
But if not, I get PTSD from watching stretch. I'm sorry. I really do.
Well, to be honest with you, if you think about it, since Ryan Day has been our head coach, how many years do you think we've had an offense that could win us a natty? How many years have you looked and you said, oh my gosh, we're just lacking a defense, right? My point behind that is it's just like Ryan Day's our head coach. I'm not too concerned with the offensive side of the ball. I trust him to do whatever it is he needs to do it. I mean, the one I'm waiting on is what are we doing on defense? You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing that's really going to answer a lot of my questions. Who are we hiring on defense? Because I think our offense next year is going to be top notch, and I think we have the players on defense to be top notch. But who are we going to bring in to call these plays? That's my question.
So, Chris, yes, he was running a lot of zone blocking, and we were struggling to run the ball. Do you not remember that? And then after Michigan, they changed their whole offense and went to gap schemes, counters, a lot of pin and pulls. And after that, we started running all over everybody. Tennessee, Texas, Oregon, didn't matter. You name it, we ran on them. So, and then they switched off passing concepts to go off of those gap schemes and those counter run blocking schemes. So that way it froze the linebackers, the second and third level of defense for a split second. And with our talent on the outside at the skill position, you freeze for a split second, you're done. So they didn't know whether it was a run play or a pass play. And by the time they figured it out, it's too late because you have Optimus running free, you got Tate running free, you got BI running free, you got G running free, and you got Mac running free. And then you still have to account for the 2 running backs. And guess what? We're still going to have 2 elite running backs next year. So, yes, he switched to a gap scheme.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it has been said that Bates is already hired for the defensive coordinator job, which I would be thrilled about. I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I
I don't
trust.
know enough to say one way or another on that. So
Well,
I got to do some research before because I don't want to speak.
the reason why I would say I'm thrilled is because Ryan Day chose
Yeah,
him. So
good point.
you know what I mean. That's all. I don't know. I don't have a lot of information on him either. I mean, I haven't sat back and studied his film. I mean, I watched the Syracuse game. I know that he's all about pressure and different things like that. But I mean, I'm not. You know, the truth be told, I'm not really like that yet in football. I don't know all these coaches out here. I'm not smart enough to look at the scheme they run and say, "Oh, I really like this about." I'm not there at all. You know, just because I have a YouTube channel doesn't mean I'm some football whiz. I'm getting there. I'm getting better with it. You know, I signed up for a couple different services where you can watch, all 22 film and get to know things better. So I'm working on it. But yeah, so we're going to hop off here, man. That's all I got for the day. I wanted to hop on here, just give a couple updates, a couple thoughts. But we'll be back on here at 9 o'clock with Epi. It's going to be exciting, man. Make sure you get back on here and join us. And, I'm excited to see where he's at because I know before he was nervous. He's not in Columbus yet. He's still in California. So I just want to see his thoughts are and maybe get his thoughts. You want to hear from a player about their thoughts on
what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on, man? You want to hear some inside information on what goes through recruits' minds? We'll see what he's got to say about it. But I'm excited to get him on here and have a conversation.
I wonder
with him.
If he contacted any of the other 25 class members yet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know when you interviewed him before, he hadn't talked to anybody yet.
Yeah, he has. He's talked to several of them, and a couple of the parents have reached out to their parents now and whatnot. So
That's
they're
awesome.
Yeah, and they know each other a little better. But alrighty, appreciate everybody showing up. Don't forget to hit that like button for us if you could. Don't forget to share this on your Twitter, your X, your Facebook, the whole 9 yards. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. On that note, go Buckeyes. OH.
IO.